Hello everyone. In this video, I thought I'll probably share my daily schedule and my timetable. Yes, I do follow a timetable, and I think it always worked for me. Now, we all are different, and we all have a different way of working. I think I am personally very ambitious, and when I say ambitious, I don't really want to become the next Bill Gates. I'm ambitious because I want to do so many things. I want to learn so many things, and I have a lot of personal goals for myself, and I think I'm a bit harsh on me, which is I think fine, because I think when you set high goals, when you set difficult objectives for yourself, then I think you're raising the bar. And I'm one of those people who want to achieve too many things quickly, or I should say, I want to basically do a lot of things in life. And most of my goals are, of course, focused around various things that I want to build, different technologies that I want to learn, and of course, I do have some personal goals related to uh, me, my family, and living a happy life in general. So I thought I'll probably share how I organize my work, and how I also plan my work in the day. I follow a timetable. But before that, I just want to also talk about how I organize my goals. So I do have different goals, and I believe we all should have goals, because when you do something in your life, maybe you want to become a CEO, or maybe you want to let us say become an engineer or doctor, or whatever you're trying to do in life. Maybe you want to become a lawyer, or maybe you want to become an athlete. I think there should be a goal in your life, so that you can break up that particular big goal, and you can do things each and every day that will contribute towards your goal or goals. Now, I prefer breaking up my goals into mainly three categories. So I want to do so many things, but to achieve those things, my goals are usually focused on things that I can achieve, or I want to achieve in the next 6 months. So these are normally my short term goals. And these short term goals are usually realistic goals. Like, let us say, if I want to create a video series, or maybe I want to write a book, or maybe I want to work on a project. And these all smaller goals are usually the projects that I have in my mind, and I have this time range in my mind which I prefer, that actually works for me. So things that I want to do maybe next month, or maybe 2 months from now, or maybe 3 months from now, these are usually ongoing projects. But I do have this ongoing deadline of 6 months. Like, these are the things that I want to finish within 6 months. For example, right now, my short term goals are uh, going to end. I want to achieve those goals within this year, like by December 2021. And these are usually multiple projects that I want to, of course, work on. And the way I work, I try to break up things. So if I have bigger goals, I try to achieve them maybe in the next few months. But usually, if I know that I cannot really achieve this within 6 months, I do have this vision of medium term goals, like things I want to do or achieve in the next 2 years. So starting from 6 months to 2 years, these are my medium term goals. So at any given point, let us say today, if I have to plan my work, I make sure that particular work that I'm doing will contribute, even in a small way. It should contribute to my short term goals, and if it is going to contribute to my short term goals, then it will definitely uh, contribute towards achieving those medium term goals. And as I mentioned before, this is like ongoing uh, thing for me for the past 10 years. So I think in year 2011, I started following this approach. So what I normally do, I of course review my goals every day so that I'm always aligned with what I want to achieve. And I will talk about when I do it. Now, moving on to long term goals, as the name suggests, these are the things that I want to achieve definitely in 5 years. And again, I keep on reviewing these goals from time to time. Like, for example, if in the next maybe 3 months or 6 months, I know for sure that this long term goal of mine is a bit unrealistic, or if it is a bit difficult to achieve, or maybe I want to tweak it slightly, so I'm open to changing and uh, making slight adjustments to my goals. But I don't really plan, to be honest, beyond 5 years. I mean, I do have like some rough idea about what I want to do, maybe in the next 10 years. But usually, I plan for the next 5 years. So this is basically the way I break up my goals. Now, talking about how I organize work, it is actually very simple. So I normally break up my activities into three main categories, and again, these activities, these tasks are and they should contribute in maybe a small way or maybe in a big way towards achieving those short-term goals or medium-term goals or long-term goals. So this is something that I always keep in my mind. For example, if I show you my primary task, so these are the tasks that I know will contribute directly to my short-term goals. And normally my primary tasks are the one that are usually the one that I am working on a daily basis, like those projects that I know I want to complete maybe next month, or maybe if I have to write a book, or maybe if I have to create a video series, or if I'm working on a project. So these are the things that I am doing on a regular basis. For example, since last year, I am learning Node.js because I want to uh, I want to do a lot of wonderful things with it, and I do have some plans. But but apart from, let us say, learning a new technology, if I have to, let us say, create videos, for example, and for creating those videos, I need to learn something. So any new activity that I have to do, like, it is usually the difficult thing. When you learn something, it is of course in the beginning very difficult. If you are trying to build a new project and you may want to add skills to your maybe you want to learn few skills. So those things are difficult in the beginning. So anything that I do for the very first time are usually my primary task. And apart from all these, there are a few things that I know for sure I won't really enjoy, but I still have to do it. Uh, Again, those are also my primary tasks. For example, uh, I'm trying to think of an example. I may not always enjoy doing these activities, but if I know for sure that I have to do it, and if I don't do them, then I will miss the deadline, or I may not achieve that goal of mine. So it could be something that I don't really enjoy. So I force myself to do those primary tasks. And secondary tasks are normally the one that will contribute towards my short-term goals, my immediate goals. But these are usually the boring activities that are important. I mean, we have to do a lot of things that are normally uh, not challenging. For example, if I'm, let us say, doing something on Jira, or if I'm doing something, let us say, if I'm writing a script and I've done that particular thing many times before, but I know I have to do it because I have to. I need to get it done. So these are my secondary tasks, and usually these activities don't really require too much of my mental um, energy because I know really well how to do them. Tertiary tasks are the one that are absolutely uh, simple for me, and I don't really worry too much about them. They are normally, those mundane activities, things like checking emails, or if I have to do something like paying bills. Or I mean, there are so many things that we have to do that are absolutely uh, not. I mean, you cannot really. I mean, you don't have to do them like right now today, but if you don't really do them, maybe in the next couple of days, you might get into trouble. Maybe you have to reply to an email, maybe you have to prepare, let us say, an invoice, or maybe any activity that you have to do. It could be a technical work, it could be non-technical work, it could be something that you have to do on a regular basis, maybe book an appointment, or all those things that I know are not necessarily important today at this moment, but if I keep on delaying them, then I can be I can get into trouble. So I make sure that I spend some time every day on these tertiary tasks. And I have like the way I block my time in the day. I will talk about my timetable. Usually, if I'm done with my tertiary task, or if I'm not really in the mood, I'm really not interested in doing them today, I am okay delaying them, but I utilize the time. I replace those tertiary tasks with something like, maybe I'll fall back to my secondary task. So usually my secondary task and tertiary task, there can be an overlap, but primary tasks are the one that I never overlap. When I'm working on my primary task, I just focus on the primary task. That is it. Now, talking about the timetable, like how I block my time, I wake up at 4 o'clock, which is usually early for most people. But this is the time when I focus on those primary activities, those primary tasks. If I'm learning something, if I have to do something that I know is really, really important for me, I do that in the morning, 4 o'clock till 7. And when I'm working on these activities, I don't get any. I try not to get disturbed. I do not look at my phone. I do not watch any YouTube videos. I just focus on this particular activity that I'm working on, and I don't really care about taking breaks, like short breaks. I try to force myself to sit down and work on the task that I'm working on the project that I'm trying to build. And after this session of focused work, and by the way, when I wake up in the morning, I actually review my goals. I actually write them on a notepad every day, which is normally my goals don't really change. They do change. They do change like once in a while, like in every. Usually after every couple of weeks, I change the dates and I review my goals if I have to, by adding maybe a new goal, or maybe if I'm planning something, I do that. But usually my goals don't really change. Primary, secondary, and tertiary, or I should say short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, they don't really change. And I still write it, because when I write them in the first thing I do when I wake up, I sit down and I write my goals. It is usually like 10 minutes of my time, but it really gives me this motivation for the day. Motivation, I think, is like a temporary thing. You have to motivate yourself every day, and when you do that, I think you're aligned with your goals. Like if you have to, let's say, do things on that particular day, make sure that those activities are aligned with my goals. So my primary task, my secondary task, and tertiary task, and my short-term goals, medium-term goals, and my long-term goals, there should be some alignment. And when I write them, I actually clear up my mind, and things actually. Sometimes, if I don't really get motivated about doing something like continuously for like couple of weeks, then I review it. Maybe I want to rethink about it, whether this particular goal or this activity that will contribute towards that particular goal is really important for me. So when I write them every day, it is like a very good opportunity for me to think. So this is the time, like the first 10 minutes is the time when I make sure I write them every day. And once I'm done with my primary task, I of course get ready. Maybe if I have to travel for work, or if I have to go to school for the school run, or if I have to eat my breakfast, I try not to plan the exact time when I'm going to eat my food, but usually it is the same time every day. But I keep this range open, like sometimes I keep on working till 8 o'clock, but usually I try to take a break at 7 o'clock, and then of course I relax a bit. But sometimes between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock I do work, and it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing something really important, and I think I need maybe extra half an hour, I of course then try to use this time between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Now, starting from 9 a.m. till midday, 12 o'clock, I mostly do secondary work, secondary task, but sometimes if I have to, if I need maybe to finish my primary activities, I do that. But usually I'm doing my secondary task. But of course, I try to spend this time, the next focused work happens from 9 a.m. till 12 in the day. And during this time, I try to take short breaks. Like I get up and I don't really continuously sit for 3 hours, but it is like a bit relaxed time for me. And starting from 12 till 4 o'clock, in between, of course, I eat my lunch. But again, as I mentioned before, I don't really plan to eat my lunch at a specific time. Sometimes it is 1 o'clock, sometimes it is 4 o'clock, and usually I'm doing the secondary task. And if I'm doing something where I can maybe take a break, let us say if I'm upgrading Jira, I'm monitoring log files, or maybe if I'm writing a script, but I'm a bit bored or tired, I use the time wisely. But I make sure that by 4 o'clock I finish those secondary tasks that I was hoping to finish. Same from 4 o'clock till 5 o'clock. I usually do my secondary tasks, but I also switch to tertiary ones if needed, because it is not really always the case when I'm doing those secondary tasks each and every day. Sometimes I'm done with them by maybe 1 o'clock and I'm happy, but I don't really waste time. I switch to the next set of activities which I have in my to-do list. And then after 5 o'clock, I don't really do any actual work. Like if I have to check emails, or if I have to do some mundane not important activities, I do that from 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock. And things like making a video, like right now I'm making a video, and it is 5:52. So if I have to make a video, it is not really going to consume any mental energy of mine. It is just me talking to you, showing something that I learned. So usually when I make videos, I do that between 5 o'clock. So I start making videos at 5 o'clock, and usually I'm done by 5:30. If I have to make 2 videos, maybe I'll continue till 6 o'clock. But after 6 o'clock, between 6 and 7, I just do those non-important things, like checking emails, replying to emails, maybe checking my LinkedIn or maybe Facebook or Twitter. Those not very massively important activities. And then of course at 7 o'clock, starting from 7 o'clock onwards, and sometimes 6 o'clock onward, to be honest, I go into complete relax mode. I of course enjoy my drink. I do drink because I look forward to this time of mine when I can have my beer, and I can of course watch a movie. Recently I started watching a lot of movies. In fact, I watch movie almost every day, or maybe a series. I think it because these days we're not really going out, so I think it is good to divert your mind to something. And I think watching a movie makes sense. When I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of movies, but then I stopped for a long time. And I think it was only last year when I started resuming watching movies. So this is my timetable, and I think for the past 10 years, this is roughly the way I plan my work, more or less. One thing that I have been doing is waking up at 4 o'clock. So this 4 to 7 session is there every day. It could be Sunday, it could be Saturday. I make sure that I wake up at 4 o'clock. Of course, it is not always the case, but I try to follow this routine, at least the morning part. But of course, sometimes during the day things can change. Sometimes you have to maybe go out, sometimes you have to do things that are unplanned, but this is my way of scheduling my time and blocking those hours during the day for doing those activities that are really important for me. And I thought I'll probably talk about this because in my opinion, if you're trying to achieve a lot too soon, it is not really impossible. I think it is okay to be highly ambitious. I think it is okay to think big, but you have to work on it. And a lot of this will also make sure that you get into the habit. So let us say if you even if you just try to fake these things, like just block the time in your calendar and sit on your desk and try to do something, you may not get into this zone where you're actually doing something productive. But if you're forcing yourself to actually work, then I think that habit is actually more important than doing the work, because sometimes you can do your work. Let us say you're reading a book, and by the way, these things are actually applicable on everything. I think if you are maybe a student, you're studying, I think these things are still applicable equally, because it is all about doing something on the desk. It could be on computer, it could be reading a book, it could be learning a new technology. But when you force yourself, you're actually tricking your mind to get into this habit. And once you are habitual, then I think things will become easier. For example, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning is absolutely not a problem for me, because this is something that I have been doing since my childhood. To be honest, I don't even need an alarm clock. Usually, I wake up at 3:55, sometimes 3 o'clock. To be honest, I mean it happens when I'm able to sleep before 9. I can actually wake up a bit early, but my body, my mind is now used to waking up. And if I don't really wake up on time, I of course feel bad because I miss working on that primary task. And sometimes I do miss few things, but I try to make it a point to not miss doing that particular thing 2 days or 3 days in a row, because getting into this habit of doing something every day is a bit difficult to achieve, in my opinion. I think you have to do it for a long time, couple of months or maybe couple of years, or maybe as long as you can. But breaking the habit is actually very easy. I mean, it is very simple to. It is very easy to get out of. I mean, your mind or your. I mean, your brain will always try to trick you to do something simple. Like it will force you to not work. If you let it go, then things can get out of control, and you can lose your habit. For example, working out, exercising. Uh, I don't really work out these days, but there was a time in my life when I used to go to gym every day, and I did doing that thing, going to gym every day for 12 years. Like, it was not always gym, but I was going out in the morning. Maybe it was for a walk, or maybe cycling, or maybe running, or gym. But I was doing that continuously for 12 years. I never really missed. Of course, I missed, but I mean, for most of those 12 years, I hardly missed even a single day. But apart from, of course, exercising, I think the concept is same. If you're able to spend time every day doing something consistently, then I think that can help you in achieving a lot of things. I have achieved lot of things in my life. I don't really want to talk about it because I think I don't. I think it either probably sound a bit arrogant, but I have no shame in saying that I have achieved a lot in my life, and it was a bit difficult for me. I mean, I remember when I look at my old diaries, like I usually use a diary to write my goals every day, and same goals. I mean, that I just showed you earlier, like short-term goals, 3 or 4 bullet points. Same for medium-term goals, and same for long-term goals. I of course write them every day, And I have these diaries of mine for the past 10 years. And I also have my old notes. So when I look at my old notes, it feels really good that I have actually achieved almost all of them. Like they are of course not exactly the same, but I am more or less satisfied with what I planned 10 years ago and what I have achieved. I think I have achieved more than what I hoped for, more than what I planned. But uh, but I do have plans for the next 5 years from today, and I think I can only do that if I do this every day. It is okay to miss maybe a day or two in like once in a while, but don't. I try not to let it go. I try not to miss couple of days in a row because I'm a bit afraid of losing this habit that I have built over years. But I think uh, you can probably also work in phases, which I did in the like in the past. Like I remember around 5 years ago, or I think 6 years ago. I think I took a break from forcing myself doing these things um, each and every day. Like maybe couple of weeks of break in between, and maybe I remember in 2014 when I started. I think when I finished writing my book, I took a break, but I was still doing a lot of these things. Like I was still waking up at 4 o'clock every day because I was into this habit of waking up. But I was relaxed on some other bits uh, throughout my day. For example, during that break time, I was letting my day go, um, like do whatever I want to do, and I think that phased approach is probably good because right now I do have some immediate goals. I'll probably take a break, maybe in 6 months or maybe I don't know 7 months from now. But I know that once I achieve those goals, I can be a bit relaxed for some time, some time, maybe for a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months. This time I'm actually hoping to take maybe a slightly longer break from this rigorous schedule of mine. Uh, because when you take a break, I think you are giving your mind, your body time to think about what next, and I think it is important. But I thought I'll probably share this approach of mine today with all of you. I know I've been talking for a long time, and I am just trying to share my thoughts, my views, and the reason I'm doing this is because I think people who are struggling to achieve things in life, they can probably get some idea from this video. I'm not really trying to become a motivational speaker, or I'm not really trying to inspire you, but I think when you hear uh, other people's or stories, I think you can probably relate few things, not each and everything. Because for example, if I mean I do watch like some videos where people share their stories. I don't, of course, relate to them in each and every aspect, but I can maybe relate to them, or maybe the way they solved a specific problem. Uh, and I think it is all about understanding the approach. You cannot really copy someone else's schedule or the way they do their work. I think it is more about the approach they take to solve the problem. So this particular approach of mine, like how I organize my goals, how I organize my work and my timetable, is not something that I came up one day. Um, I started because from the very start of my career, I have been trying to achieve a lot. And in the beginning, it was all going in different directions. But I believe it was only in 2011 when uh, when I was able to work with this approach, similar approach, and I think it has worked for me all these years, like past 10 years. And I have, of course, refined this approach of mine slightly. But if you read my old blogs, I think I did share this approach of mine on one of my blog, my ravisagar.in blog, and it has worked really well for me, and that is the reason I am making this video to share whatever uh, I have learned, I have been able to do so far in my career, in my life, and hopefully it can potentially help you in case you are a bit like me. So that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and hopefully you learned something new today. Thank you very much.